Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining and for learning German with me. Today we have a special episode which hopefully will help you with your structures, and I'm pretty sure if you stick around and really try to do the exercises, you will speak better German than you spoke 20 minutes ago. So let's try. We know that a sentence in German has a substantive and a verb. This makes it a complete sentence. For example, ich stimme zu. I agree. We can also put a object. In this case, it is dative because of the verb to agree with somebody. Ich stimme ihm zu. By the way, zustimmen is a separable verb. If you're not familiar with that, you have to rewatch my A1 grammar lessons. So, subject, verb, object, and additional things are our main sentence structure. When we want to say a question, to ask a question, what do we do normally? We have two options: verb, subject, object. For example, stimmst du ihm zu? Do you agree with him? And we have a second option. When we have a question word, it comes in front. For example, wieso means why. Wieso stimmst du ihm zu? When we have a so-called helping verb or modal verb, the position changes a little bit. Ich kann ihm nicht zustimmen. What do we have here? Again, subject, helping verb, modal verb, object, and whatever we want to say. And then we have our verb in the final position. Let's say wie and give it an F for final. And we have it in infinitive. How do we do a question with a modal verb? Same thing applies, but instead of zustimmen, we have to put the modal verb in front. Kannst du ihm zustimmen? Or if you want to say, to make it more dramatic, how can you agree with him, right? Like in a telenovela or something. We have to do the second option and say, wie, how, wie kannst du ihm zustimmen? How can you agree with him? Okay, this is the first part of the super basic but super important position of the words in a sentence. If you want to make it more complicated with dative and accusative, I have a separate video about that. I will put it in the comments as a link maybe, so you can find it easier. Now, what do I have here? We have two different areas. The first one is when we want to connect a main sentence with another main sentence. We can use und, and, oder, or, aber, but, sondern instead, or denn. Because I talked about it in another video. I explained every part. You can check it out. There are also exercises, and I think it will help you if you haven't watched it yet. So this one is more or less A1, second part of A1. But now we are connecting Nebensätze, which is A2. When we connect Nebensätze, the order in the Nebensatz is not the same. That means a whole bunch of rules again, which are applying to the Nebensatz. And we will check this out now. First of all is wenn, dann. I give you an easy sentence and you will see the structure. I want to keep it quite similar with what we just had, so I chose the sentence, wenn du ihm zustimmst, dann gehe ich. So what do we have here? Wenn, subject, object, verb, dann, we don't have to say it, but we can, verb, subject. And of course, you can also put an object if you want. Depends on the sentence. So now it looks like, what is this? S-O-V-V-S-O. How can we remember that? Focus on the verb, the position of the verb. The part that gives you the condition, the when, puts the verb at the end. The part that has the done, the consequence, puts the verb after the comma, so in the beginning. So actually, you can remember wenn dann, the verbs are a little bit kissing. They're next to each other. Now I have a question for you. Can we switch the two parts around? Yes, we can, but we cannot say dann in the beginning because dann implies that we already know the condition. It can only be in the second part of the whole statement. If we want to say, I go when you agree with him, then we have to go to our conventional position again because we don't have the dann to influence the position of the sentence. So we can also say, ich gehe, wenn du ihm zustimmst. We have a normal subject-verb construction and the rest stays the same. There are some sentences that are starting with dann, but you don't have to learn this now. It doesn't matter for the moment. Just remember it like this. Since we are giving little symbols here, I also will do this kind of error. So you can also realize that those parts are interchangeable, but don't forget the position changes. Okay, we have a little exercise here. You can check it out and try to connect the sentences. Let's compare. Wenn die Prüfung besteht, gibt eine Party. Verb at the end, verb in the beginning. Wenn du Lust hast, kannst du zu mir kommen. Same concept, but we have a helping verb. Therefore, the real verb is on the final position in infinitive. And we have the two verbs being next to each other, separated by the comma. Wenn das Wetter schlecht ist, dann bleiben wir zu Hause. Same concept, and of course, nothing speaks against saying the dann if you want, but only in the second part of the sentence after the comma. Ich fahre in die Stadt, wenn ich fertig bin. Something changed here. We switched it around. And as you can see, we don't have dann. Dann is not an option. I drive into the city or I go into the city when I'm finished. And I gave you the second option also, just so you can see the difference. Wenn ich fertig bin, fahre ich in die Stadt. Here we have again the verbs being connected or being really close. First part at the end, second part in the beginning. And if we wanted, we could also put a dann here. Wenn ich fertig bin, dann fahre ich in die Stadt. Next exercise. Answer to the questions with when. Wann gehst du tanzen? Wenn du mitkommst. When are you going to dance or to dance? When you will join. Wenn du mitkommst. This is a really typical way to answer a question, a conditional situation. When you join me, I will go. We don't have to say, wenn du mitkommst, gehe ich tanzen. Of course we can, but we don't have to. Number 2, wann fliegst du nach Australien? I forgot the question mark. Wann fliegst du nach Australien? Answer, wenn die Ferien beginnen, fliege ich nach Australien. This is the longer version. And we have the same concept as before. Wann fährt er langsam? Wenn es Schnee gibt, fährt er langsam. When there is snow, he drives slowly. And of course, if you wanted, we can put the dann here. Er fährt langsam, wenn es Schnee gibt, would be the option when you interchange the first and the second part. Okay, speaking of the last sentence with the snow, this is a condition, right? But we also want to explain something, which we can do also in this context. How do we say he drives slow? Because there is snow. The answer is, of course, with weil or da. So if the first one was conditional, the second one is explanatory. Let's go to our dramatic sentence. Ich gehe, weil du ihm zustimmst. I go because you agree with him. Or we can say, weil du ihm zustimmst, Komma, gehe ich. So, what do we have here? What do we have to remember? The weil needs a subject, object, verb. So again, verb at the end. And we have the verb in the beginning of the second part, verb, subject. The whole thing here is an additional, grammatically speaking, an additional information. Therefore, we have verb subject construction. If we put it in the beginning, like we have here, then it changes again up. We say, ich gehe, I go, because you agree with him. Subject, verb. So please remember verb at the end and verb at the beginning, like we had before. And again, the parts of the sentence are interchangeable, but keep in mind the position. Let's go to the exercise. Weil Martina eine Reise buchen will, geht sie ins Reisebüro. Same concept. We have the infinitive here and the actual conjugated verb, in this case a modal verb, a helping verb, at the end. And in the second part, we have again the verb in front so that they are close to each other. Because Martina wants to book a vacation or a trip, she goes to the travel office. Weil das Wetter prima ist, sonnen sich die Menschen. Because the weather is so great, people are sunbathing. Weil Peter verschlafen hat, kommt später. Because Peter did oversleep, he comes later. Keep in mind, here we have perfect tense, perfect. And here we also have the conjugated one, which is haben or sein. The Partizip 2 comes a position prior. Peter kommt später, weil verschlafen hat. Subject, verb, and therefore we don't have our nice verbs being together because the position changed and also the order between the subject verb. Next exercise, answer with weil. Don't forget, you do not have to say everything again. For practice reason, of course, you can try, but same as before, try to keep it short and more natural. Warum reist du nach Japan? Weil ich meine Eltern besuche. Why do you travel to Japan? Because I want to visit or I visit my parents. Warum lauft ihr so schnell? Why are you walking so fast? Weil es regnet. Because it rains. Wieso machst du nichts? Why don't you do anything? Weil ich keine Lust habe. Because I'm not in the mood. Of course, we can also say, ich mache nichts, weil ich keine Lust habe. Or opposite, weil ich keine Lust habe, mache ich nichts. And our verbs have found each other again in this constellation. And the last one, our last little combination here, are those so-called das Nebensätze. Let's go to our telenovela sentence. Ich denke, dass du ihm zustimmst. I think that you are agreeing with him. For example, you can find many other versions. What do we need to make a das sentence? You can watch my other 2 videos. I talked about it. But this is how we build it. Subject, verb, comma, das, subject, object, verb. So, but here we cannot say, dass du ihm zustimmst, denke ich. Let me say it before everyone says, oh yeah, you can say that. Yes, you can, but it sounds strange. Let me write it here like this. Dass du ihm zustimmst, denke ich. It's okay, you can learn it if you are a little bit more advanced and you want to learn it passively. Learn it, whatever. Some statements sound even better when you switch it, but don't overdo it with this one. It's better to start like I wrote here in red. Ich denke, I think, And then we say what we think or what we like or whatever. Does. And then we continue. So let's say it is interchangeable, but don't overdo it. And we have subject, verb, does. And as you can see, the verb is at the end, so we do not have this connection between the verbs in the first and second part. There is no pajama party going on. They're really separated. When you make it in the other way here, like I wrote, then they are again here together. Verb at the final position and verb in the first position, but try not to, especially because sometimes it's wrong. For example, here in the fourth one, I don't want to give it away, but we do not say, dass nach Thailand fährt, stimmt es. It doesn't fit. It sounds off, it sounds wrong. Don't do it. Speaking of, try to make those 4 exercises and then we're done for the day. Good luck. We will compare the results in the next video next Sunday and also start a brand new topic next week. Thank you so much for watching, for your support. If you made it to the end, you can be really proud of yourself. I know it's not the most famous topic, the most loved topic, but it's super important. You can follow me on Instagram. On Facebook, I have my own little language group with Zoom meetings, with conversation and stuff like that. I can only say it again and again. If you had a feeling that you didn't understand something today, or it was too fast or too little of an exercise, check out my A1 grammar course or my A2 one. Leave your question also in the comments. I will answer them for sure. I will see you very soon. Take care and don't give up. Bye.